Picture this, it's 2004. A 19-year-old drops out of Harvard to build something that will connect the world. Fast forward to today, that same person is trying to build an entirely new world to escape the one he created. Mark Zuckerberg's journey from Facebook founder to Meta CEO isn't just a business pivot, it's a desperate attempt to rewrite history. Because the strategies that made Facebook unstoppable, the data harvesting, the addiction-focused design, the ruthless acquisitions, are now the very things that could destroy it. What if I told you a secret? Facebook's biggest controversies started long ago. The seeds were planted in a Harvard dorm room. Most people think Facebook started as an innocent college project. The real story is much darker. October 2003, Mark Zuckerberg sits in his Kirkland House dorm room, frustrated after being rejected by a girl at a party. What happens next changes everything. He creates FaceMash, a website where Harvard students vote on who's more attractive. Sounds harmless, right? Wrong. Here's where it gets real. To build FaceMash, Zuckerberg hacked into Harvard's student directories. He downloaded private photos without permission, he scraped personal data from multiple dormitory websites. The site crashed Harvard's network within hours because so many students were using it. But here's the twist. Zuckerberg wasn't embarrassed by the chaos. He was excited by the engagement. Think about it, this wasn't just college mischief, it was a preview of everything Facebook would become. Unauthorized data collection? Check. Addictive engagement that overwhelmed systems? Check. Using personal information without consent? Check. The blueprint was already there. The administration shut down FaceMash immediately. Zuckerberg faced disciplinary action. Most students would have learned their lesson, but Zuckerberg? He saw opportunity in the controversy. He realized something powerful. People couldn't resist comparing themselves to others, even when they knew it was wrong. 4 months later, February 4, 2004, Zuckerberg launches the Facebook with his roommates Eduardo Saverin, Andrew McCollum, Dustin Moskovitz, and Chris Hughes. But even this origin story has hidden darkness. 3 Harvard seniors were working on their own social network called Harvard Connection. They hired Zuckerberg to help code their site. Instead, he stalled their project while secretly building his own competing platform. Cameron Winklevoss, Tyler Winklevoss, and Divya Narendra later sued Zuckerberg. They claimed he deliberately misled them. He took their ideas while pretending to help. This wasn't just business competition, it was calculated deception from day one. Eduardo Saverin provided the initial funding. He believed in his roommate's vision, but tension grew quickly between them. Saverin wanted careful growth and proper business structure. Zuckerberg wanted rapid expansion at any cost. The conflict exposed something troubling about Zuckerberg's approach to partnerships. Control mattered more than loyalty. Then came Sean Parker. The Napster co-founder saw potential in young Zuckerberg. But Parker brought something dangerous. The psychology of addiction. Parker understood how to make digital products irresistible. He taught Zuckerberg that engagement wasn't just about features, it was about hijacking human behavior patterns. Parker introduced concepts that would define Facebook forever. Variable reward schedules, social validation loops, fear of missing out. These weren't just business strategies, they were psychological weapons designed to create dependency. The move fast and break things motto emerged during these early days. Everyone thought it meant innovation and speed. The reality was different. It meant avoiding responsibility for consequences. Launch first, fix problems later. Growth over safety, engagement over ethics. Early investors saw warning signs that most people missed. Zuckerberg's emails revealed concerning patterns. He showed little regard for user privacy. He viewed competitors as threats to eliminate, not innovate against. He prioritized data collection over user experience. But the money was too good to question the methods. The Harvard expansion strategy revealed the true blueprint. Facebook didn't just connect people, it studied them. Every click generated data. Every interaction revealed preferences. Every photo upload provided facial recognition training. The platform wasn't just social networking, it was surveillance disguised as connection. By the time Facebook left Harvard, the pattern was set. Aggressive data collection, addictive design features, ruthless competition tactics, rapid expansion without considering consequences. These weren't bugs in the system, they were the system. Few people noticed the truth. Everything Facebook was later criticized for had early signs. It was already visible in that Harvard dorm room. The privacy violations, the psychological manipulation, the monopolistic behavior, the disregard for user welfare. It was all there from the beginning. The foundation was set. But the real construction of the empire was just beginning. Ever wonder why you can't stop scrolling? That's not an accident. 2006. Facebook's user base hits 12 million. But Zuckerberg faces a problem. People visit the site, check updates, then leave. Average session time? Just 8 minutes. For an advertising business, that's not enough. So Facebook makes a choice that changes everything. They start hiring neuroscientists, behavioral psychologists, addiction specialists, not to help users, but to trap them. Dr. BJ Fogg runs Stanford's Persuasive Technology Lab. His students include future Facebook, Instagram, and Google executives. Fogg teaches them a powerful lesson. Technology can change human behavior. This works by tapping into the brain's reward systems. His students learn this well. They apply it to build social media platforms. Here's where it gets real. The infinite scroll wasn't designed for convenience. It was designed to eliminate stopping points. Think about books, magazines, or newspapers. They have natural endings. Your brain gets closure. Facebook removed that closure completely. The infinite scroll creates what psychologists call continuous partial attention. Your brain never gets satisfied. There's always more content coming. Just one more post, one more video, one more update. The scroll becomes endless because stopping requires willpower, and willpower is limited. But infinite scroll was just the beginning. Facebook's notification system uses the exact same psychology as Las Vegas slot machines. Unpredictable rewards, variable timing. That little red notification badge triggers a dopamine hit in your brain, the same chemical that makes gambling addictive. Your phone buzzes, maybe it's important, maybe it's nothing. You have to check to find out. That uncertainty creates anticipation. Anticipation creates craving. Craving creates addiction. Facebook engineered this deliberately. The notification algorithm doesn't just alert you to activity, it creates activity when there isn't any. No new messages? The system sends people you may know suggestions. No new likes? It sends memories from years ago. The goal isn't information, it's interruption. 2017. Frances Haugen works as a product manager at Facebook. She sees internal research that shocks her. Facebook's own studies show their algorithms harm teenage mental health. Depression rates increase with platform usage. Self-harm content spreads faster than safety resources. Body image issues worsen among young girls using Instagram. But here's the twist. Facebook doesn't change the algorithms. They make them more engaging instead. The like button seems innocent. Just positive feedback, right? Wrong. Facebook's internal research reveals the like triggers genuine dopamine releases. The same brain chemical involved in cocaine addiction. Users become chemically dependent on social validation. Each like creates a small high. But tolerance builds over time. You need more likes to feel the same satisfaction. Posts that get fewer likes create disappointment, even anxiety. The like button turns social interaction into a drug delivery system. Variable reward schedules make the addiction stronger. Sometimes your post gets 5 likes, sometimes 50, sometimes none. The unpredictability keeps you checking constantly. Maybe the next check will bring the reward you're craving. Facebook discovered something disturbing. Users check their phones every few minutes even when notifications aren't there. Phantom vibrations, phantom notifications. The addiction becomes so strong that people imagine alerts that don't exist. Internal documents reveal Facebook's true strategy. They track time on site as their primary success metric, not user satisfaction, not mental health, not meaningful connections, just raw time spent scrolling. The algorithm learns what keeps you engaged longest. Angry content, you'll see more. Outrageous claims, they'll flood your feed. Conspiracy theories, the algorithm promotes them because they generate comments and shares. Truth becomes secondary to engagement. Facebook calls this meaningful social interactions, but their own research shows these interactions often feel hollow. Users report feeling worse after Facebook sessions, not better, yet they keep returning. This wasn't just about engagement metrics, it was about rewiring human behavior at a neurological level. Facebook created digital addiction by design. They studied how drugs work on the brain, then built those same mechanisms into their platform. The addiction machine was complete. Infinite scroll removes natural stopping points. Notifications create anticipation cycles. Variable rewards trigger dopamine releases. The algorithm feeds users increasingly extreme content to maintain engagement. But addiction was just the beginning. Next came the data harvest. Instagram was supposed to be Facebook's biggest threat. Instead, it became their greatest weapon. April 2012. Instagram hits 100 million users. The photo-sharing app is growing faster than Facebook ever did. Young users are abandoning Facebook for this sleek, simple platform. Zuckerberg watches the numbers with growing anxiety. Instagram isn't just competition, it's an existential threat. Here's where it gets real. Most people think Facebook bought Instagram for innovation. The truth is much darker. Internal emails reveal Zuckerberg's real motivation. He bought Instagram specifically to eliminate competition, not to improve his platform. The $1 billion price tag shocked everyone. Instagram had just 13 employees, no revenue, no clear business model. Wall Street called Zuckerberg crazy. But they missed the strategy completely. Think about it. Zuckerberg wasn't buying a company, he was buying market control. Instagram's rapid growth proved something terrifying. Facebook wasn't invincible. Young users could abandon the platform for something better. The acquisition wasn't about getting Instagram's features, it was about making sure no one else could have them. Internal communications show Zuckerberg's true thinking. He identified Instagram as a threat that could hurt us meaningfully. The purchase wasn't strategic partnership, it was preemptive warfare. Buy the competitor before they become unstoppable. But Instagram was just the beginning. 2 years later, Zuckerberg makes an even bigger move. WhatsApp, $19 billion, the largest tech acquisition in history at that time. Everyone focused on the messaging angle. WhatsApp had 450 million users sending 50 billion messages daily. But here's the twist. Zuckerberg wasn't buying a messaging app, he was buying global communication control. WhatsApp dominated markets where Facebook struggled. India, Brazil, Europe, regions with growing internet populations and massive future potential. The acquisition wasn't about messaging features Facebook couldn't build, it was about markets Facebook couldn't crack. The $19 billion seemed insane. WhatsApp had 55 employees. Facebook was paying $345 million per employee. But Zuckerberg saw something others missed. WhatsApp wasn't just an app, it was infrastructure. Communication infrastructure that billions of people depended on daily. Internal documents reveal Facebook's systematic approach to competition. They created threat maps identifying potential rivals before they became dangerous. Snapchat, Twitter, LinkedIn, every platform that could steal users or attention got analyzed, categorized, and targeted. The strategy was simple: identify threats early. Make acquisition offers they couldn't refuse. If they refused, copy their features and outspend them into irrelevance. This wasn't business competition, it was digital warfare disguised as innovation. Facebook's acqui-hire strategy destroyed dozens of promising startups. Small companies with innovative ideas got bought not for their products, but for their talent. The products got shut down, the innovation died, the competition disappeared. Beluga, a group messaging app that could have challenged WhatsApp. Facebook bought them in 2011, shut down the app immediately, absorbed the team. The technology never saw the light of day again. This pattern repeated constantly. Connect You, Friend Feed, Gowalla, Hot Potato, each acquisition eliminated a potential threat, each purchase removed innovation from the marketplace. Facebook wasn't building a better ecosystem. They were creating a wasteland where only Facebook could survive. The most disturbing part? Facebook often bought companies just to prevent competitors from getting them. They didn't need the technology. They didn't want the products. They just couldn't allow anyone else to have them. Google tried to buy WhatsApp first. Zuckerberg outbid them by billions. Not because Facebook needed WhatsApp more than Google, but because Google having WhatsApp would threaten Facebook's messaging dominance. It was defensive spending on a massive scale. By 2015, Facebook controlled the 3 largest social platforms in the world: Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp. Combined, they reached over 3 billion users. No single company in history had controlled so much human communication. This wasn't business strategy. It was systematic market elimination. Facebook didn't win by building better products. They won by making sure better products couldn't exist. The acquisition war reveals Facebook's true nature. They weren't innovators competing in a free market. They were monopolists buying their way to dominance. Each purchase took away consumer choice. It also blocked innovation across the whole industry. With competition eliminated, Facebook could focus on what it did best: harvesting data. Your personal information isn't Facebook's product, you are. Back in 2007, Facebook realizes something powerful. User data isn't just useful for connecting people, it's pure gold for advertisers. Every click reveals preferences, every photo shows relationships, every status update exposes emotions. Facebook starts treating users like products to be sold to the highest bidder. Here's where it gets real. Facebook collects over 52,000 data points on every user. Your location history, your phone contacts, your browsing habits outside Facebook, your shopping preferences, even your offline purchases through credit card partnerships. Information you never consciously shared becomes part of your digital profile. Think about it for a second. You post a photo of your coffee. Facebook learns your location, the time you drink coffee, what brand you prefer, who you're with, and even your mood based on facial recognition. One simple photo generates dozens of data points for advertisers. But the Cambridge Analytica scandal was just the tip of the iceberg. The real data harvesting was much worse. Cambridge Analytica accessed 87 million user profiles through a personality quiz app. Users thought they were just answering fun questions. Instead, they were handing over detailed psychological profiles to political operatives. The twist? Facebook knew about the data breach for years before it became public. Internal emails show executives were aware that Cambridge Analytica was misusing data as early as 2015. They did nothing to stop it. Why? Because shutting down data access would hurt Facebook's business model. Facebook tracks users across the internet even when they're not on Facebook. Invisible pixels embedded in websites, tracking cookies that follow your browsing like buttons on external sites that monitor your activity whether you click them or not. You visit a shoe store website, Facebook knows. You read a political article, Facebook records it. You browse for vacation rentals, Facebook tracks every click. These invisible trackers create detailed profiles of your interests. Facebook builds advertising categories based on this surveillance, likely to move soon. Interested in luxury goods, politically liberal, recently divorced, advertisers can target you based on your most private moments and vulnerabilities. Shadow profiles mean Facebook has data on people who never signed up for the platform. When users upload their phone contacts, Facebook captures information about non-users. Your friends' contact lists include your phone number, email, and sometimes your address. Facebook creates profiles for people who never consented to surveillance. Non-users become products too. Facebook tracks them through invisible pixels on websites. Their browsing habits get recorded. Their interests get cataloged. When they finally join Facebook, their shadow profile merges with their account. Years of surveillance data suddenly becomes active. The company's business model requires violating privacy to survive. This isn't a bug in the system, it's the entire system. Facebook's revenue comes from targeted advertising. Targeted advertising requires detailed user data. Detailed user data requires privacy violations. Remove privacy violations, and Facebook's business model collapses. Internal training documents guided employees to gather maximum data. They were taught to keep users unaware. The materials showed how to make data collection look optional. In reality, it was required. Privacy settings were designed to confuse users into sharing more than they intended. Default settings maximize data collection while appearing to protect privacy. Employees learned to frame surveillance as personalization. We're making your experience better. We're showing you relevant content. We're connecting you with friends. The language disguised data extraction as user benefits. Privacy violations became customer service. The data empire generated billions in revenue. Facebook's advertising business grew from $1.9 billion in 2010 to over $70 billion by 2019. Every data point translated into advertising dollars. Every privacy violation increased company value. User surveillance became the most profitable business model in human history. But this massive data collection also created Facebook's biggest vulnerability. The more data they collected, the bigger the target they became. Hackers wanted Facebook's treasure trove of personal information. Regulators wanted to control Facebook's surveillance power. Competitors wanted to expose Facebook's privacy violations. The surveillance machine was complete. Facebook knew more about users than users knew about themselves. They could predict behavior. They could influence decisions. They could manipulate emotions using targeted content and ads. Everything was working perfectly, until it wasn't. 2018 changed everything. The empire that seemed unstoppable suddenly looked fragile. March 17, 2018. The Guardian and New York Times publish explosive reports. Cambridge Analytica had harvested data from 87 million Facebook users without their consent. The political consulting firm used this information to build psychological profiles. They targeted voters with personalized political ads. The goal? Influence elections around the world. Here's where it gets real. Facebook knew about the data breach years earlier. Internal emails show executives were aware of Cambridge Analytica's activities in 2015. They did nothing to stop it. Why? Because shutting down data access would hurt their business model. The public reaction was immediate and furious. #delete Facebook trended worldwide. Users demanded answers. Advertisers pulled campaigns. Stock prices crashed 20% in days. Facebook lost over $100 billion in market value within weeks. April 10, 2018, Mark Zuckerberg sits before Congress. Senators grill him for 10 hours across 2 days. The hearing reveals something shocking. Zuckerberg had lost control of his own platform. He couldn't answer basic questions about Facebook's data practices. He didn't know how many apps had access to user data. He couldn't explain how the company prevented future breaches. Think about it. The CEO of the world's largest social network didn't understand his own systems. The move fast and break things mindset had backfired. It created a monster. Even its creator couldn't control it. During the hearing, Zuckerberg admits Facebook's failure. He calls it a breach of trust between Facebook and the people who share their data with us and expect us to protect it. But his robotic delivery and scripted answers made things worse. Users felt deceived, not reassured. The Cambridge Analytica scandal exposed something deeper. Facebook's growth strategy had broken more than privacy laws. It had broken democracy itself. Foreign actors used Facebook to spread misinformation during the 2016 election. Hate speech flourished on the platform. Mental health problems increased among users, especially teenagers. The "Move Fast and Break Things" motto had broken public trust. It had broken fair elections. It had broken healthy social interaction. The philosophy that built Facebook's empire was now destroying it from within. Regulatory pressure mounted from every direction. Europe's GDPR took effect in May 2018. The new law imposed strict rules on data collection. Companies could be fined up to 4% of global revenue for violations. Facebook faced billions in potential penalties. U.S. antitrust investigations launched. Congress demanded answers about Facebook's monopolistic practices. The Federal Trade Commission opened its largest privacy investigation in history. State attorneys general filed lawsuits, international regulators coordinated global responses, content moderation became a nightmare, governments demanded Facebook remove hate speech, misinformation, and terrorist content. But different countries had different rules. What was legal in America was banned in Germany. What was acceptable in India was illegal in France. Facebook couldn't satisfy everyone. Stock prices reflected the new reality. Investors realized Facebook's growth model was unsustainable in a privacy-conscious world. The company's reputation crumbled among older users who began abandoning the platform. Trust scores hit historic lows. But here's the twist. While Facebook struggled with scandals, competitors moved fast. TikTok exploded among younger users. The Chinese app offered fresh content and simple fun. No privacy scandals, no political controversies, just entertainment. TikTok's success exposed Facebook's biggest weakness. Young users didn't care about connecting with friends anymore. They wanted entertainment, not social networking. Facebook's core value proposition was becoming irrelevant. Instagram, Facebook's supposed youth lifeline, couldn't compete with TikTok's algorithm. Young users spent hours on TikTok while barely opening Instagram. The generational shift was accelerating. Facebook was turning into a platform for older users. It was losing the next generation completely. Internal morale collapsed. Employees questioned their company's mission. Recruiting became difficult as top talent avoided Facebook. The company that once attracted the world's best engineers now struggled to fill positions. The blueprint that built the empire was now destroying it from within. Aggressive data collection triggered privacy regulations. Addictive design features caused mental health backlash. Monopolistic acquisitions sparked antitrust investigations. Rapid growth without oversight created uncontrollable platforms. How did the "move fast and break things" philosophy create the problems Meta faces today? It prioritized growth over responsibility, speed over safety, engagement over ethics, profit over people. The very strategies that made Facebook dominant had made it toxic. Facing an impossible choice, Zuckerberg made a desperate gamble. When you can't fix your reputation, you create a new reality. October 28, 2021. Mark Zuckerberg stands on stage at Facebook Connect. He's about to make the biggest gamble in corporate history. Today we're seen as a social media company, he says. But in our DNA, we are a company that builds technology to connect people. Here's where it gets real. This wasn't just a product announcement, it was an escape plan. Facebook's reputation was toxic. Congress was investigating. Regulators were circling. Young users were fleeing to TikTok. The Metaverse wasn't just Zuckerberg's next big idea, it was his only way out. The rebrand from Facebook to Meta wasn't about innovation, it was about distraction. Think about it. When your company is synonymous with privacy violations and election interference, what do? You change the subject entirely. Zuckerberg described the Metaverse as the next chapter for the internet and the next chapter for our company. But internal documents tell a different story. Employees questioned the sudden pivot. Users showed little interest in VR social experiences. The technology wasn't ready for mainstream adoption. But Zuckerberg pressed forward anyway. He bet everything on a virtual world that didn't exist yet. Reality Labs, Meta's VR division, received unlimited funding. Billions poured into headset development. Thousands of engineers got reassigned to Metaverse projects. The numbers reveal the true cost of this gamble. Meta has already lost over $40 billion on Metaverse development, $40 billion, with little to show for it. The Quest headsets sell modestly. Horizon Worlds, their flagship VR social platform, struggles to retain users. Most people try VR once, then never return. While Zuckerberg chases virtual worlds, competitors dominate the real world of social media. TikTok explodes among young users. YouTube Shorts gains billions of views. Instagram Reels tries to compete but falls short. The platforms people actually use aren't Meta's Metaverse experiments. Here's the twist. The Metaverse could amplify every problem Facebook created. Addiction becomes worse in immersive environments. Privacy violations multiply with biometric data collection. Social isolation increases when people prefer virtual interaction over real connection. VR headsets track eye movements. They monitor hand gestures. They record facial expressions. They measure emotional responses. The data collection possibilities are endless and terrifying. Facebook's surveillance capabilities could expand exponentially in virtual reality. Internal reports show employee skepticism about the Metaverse strategy. Engineers question resource allocation. Product managers doubt user demand. Marketing teams struggle to explain VR benefits to mainstream audiences. The company that once moved fast and broke things now moves slowly and fixes nothing. User indifference to VR social experiences reveals the deeper problem. People don't want to escape reality. They want to enhance it. They want connection, not isolation. They want simplicity, not complexity. The Metaverse solves problems that don't exist while ignoring problems that do. Zuckerberg's obsession with VR blinds him to actual user needs. Teenagers don't want virtual reality hangouts. They want authentic content and genuine connection. Adults don't want digital meetings and fake conference rooms. They want efficient communication and meaningful relationships. The Metaverse strategy reveals something troubling about Zuckerberg's leadership. He's building for himself, not for users. He loves VR technology. He believes in virtual worlds. He wants to be remembered as a visionary, but his personal passion doesn't match market demand. This isn't innovation. It's the most expensive midlife crisis in corporate history. A CEO approaching 40, desperate to prove his relevance. A founder trying to escape his company's toxic legacy. A visionary who lost touch with reality while building virtual ones. Why did Zuckerberg bet the entire company's future on a virtual world that doesn't exist yet? Fear. Fear that Facebook was dying. Fear that his legacy was ruined. Fear that he'd lost control of his own creation. The Metaverse became his escape from accountability. How much money has Meta actually lost on its Metaverse gamble so far? Over $40 billion and counting. Every quarterly report shows more losses, every product launch disappoints, every prediction proves overly optimistic, but the biggest question remains unanswered. You can change your name, but you can't change your nature. The Metaverse was supposed to be a fresh start. Meta's virtual reality promised to escape Facebook's toxic legacy. New platforms, new experiences, new reputation. But here's the twist. It's revealing the same old patterns. Meta is building the exact same surveillance and addiction systems into virtual reality that destroyed Facebook's reputation. The company learned nothing from its past mistakes. Instead, it's amplifying them in 3 dimensions. Think about it. VR headsets track your eye movements. They monitor what captures your attention, how long you focus on specific content, even your emotional reactions based on pupil dilation. Facebook's surveillance was invasive. Meta's VR surveillance is terrifying. The data collection goes far beyond traditional social media. Room scanning features map your physical space, furniture layouts, room dimensions, personal objects in view. Meta's tracking extends from digital behaviors into your actual home. Your private space becomes part of their data empire. Location tracking within virtual environments creates another privacy nightmare. Meta knows where you go in VR, what you look at, who you interact with, and how you move your body. Voice patterns get recorded, hand gestures get analyzed, facial expressions get cataloged. Privacy settings employ the same deceptive tactics Facebook perfected. Default configurations maximize data collection. Users remain unaware of information gathered during VR experiences. Critical privacy options require navigating multiple settings menus. The explanations are deliberately confusing. Data retention policies allow Meta to store VR information indefinitely unless users specifically request deletion. Most people never do. The company keeps everything forever. Your virtual life becomes permanent surveillance data. Here's where it gets real. The company's DNA hasn't changed despite the rebrand. They still prioritize growth over user welfare, engagement over ethics, data collection over privacy protection. The metaverse just amplifies these problems instead of solving them. Regulatory investigations continue while Meta struggles to prove the metaverse is more than just an expensive distraction. Congress asks tough questions. European regulators impose strict rules. Antitrust investigations expand. The rebranding, well, it fooled no one. So how are Meta's competitors positioning themselves while Zuckerberg focuses on virtual worlds? Well, they're capturing the audiences Meta is abandoning, that's for sure. TikTok is dominating short-form video, YouTube is expanding into social features, Discord is building gaming communities, and Snapchat is innovating with AR filters. It's quite a shift. You know, these platforms understand something Meta seems to have forgotten. Users want authentic connection, not a virtual escape. They want simple tools, not complex headsets. They crave real experiences, not artificial worlds. That's the real deal. TikTok's algorithm, for instance, creates genuine engagement without manipulation. YouTube is building creator economies that benefit users, while Discord facilitates natural community formation. These platforms, they're growing organically. Meanwhile, Meta is forcing VR adoption through massive marketing spending. It's a stark contrast, isn't it? So, could the metaverse actually make Facebook's privacy and addiction problems worse? Well, early evidence suggests yes. VR data collection is honestly way more invasive than what we've seen with traditional social media. Plus, these immersive environments, they just create a much stronger potential for addiction. And on top of that, virtual isolation can actually increase real-world social problems. Eye-tracking technology, it reveals some really intimate details about user psychology, like what excites you, what scares you, and even what attracts your attention. This kind of information creates totally unprecedented manipulation possibilities. Advertisers could end up targeting your subconscious responses. And, yeah, political actors could exploit your emotional triggers too. Integration between Facebook's social graph and Meta's VR products, well, that creates some distinctive privacy concerns. Your social connections merge with immersive behavioral information. Activities in one environment can influence your experiences in another, and all of this really happens without transparent user control. So, Instagram's visual focus, actually gains an extra dimension when it's linked with AR glasses. The photo-sharing platform already collects a whole lot of information about your visual preferences. And with AR integration, it could monitor your real-world interactions. The blueprint that created Facebook's empire might actually be the same one that ends up destroying it. Aggressive data collection, well, it triggers stronger privacy regulations. Addictive design features are causing more and more backlash about mental health. Monopolistic behavior, yeah, that sparks antitrust enforcement. And surveillance capitalism is facing, honestly, growing resistance. Meta isn't really escaping its past, it's actually amplifying it in virtual reality. The same executive team, they're making the same decisions. The same corporate culture, it keeps prioritizing the same metrics. And the same business model? Well, it still requires the same privacy violation. So, Zuckerberg's virtual world obsession, yeah, it really blinds him to actual user needs. He ends up building for himself, not for markets. His personal vision just keeps conflicting with what the public actually wants. In the end, the metaverse becomes his, well, expensive isolation chamber. The ultimate question isn't about technology. The real question isn't whether Meta can build the metaverse, it's whether they can build trust. What triggered Zuckerberg's sudden obsession with building a virtual world nobody asked for? Fear. Fear that the empire built on surveillance and addiction was crumbling. Fear that his legacy would be Cambridge Analytica and teenage depression. Fear that he'd lost control of his own creation. The dark blueprint that made Facebook unstoppable has become the trap that might destroy Meta. Sometimes the very strategies that create success become the reasons for failure. The surveillance that generated billions now triggers regulations. The addiction that drove engagement now causes backlash.